So through this acceptance, growth came, and through the guidance of myself as that spiritual guide. And of course, it created the heart to open up so the vessel could see beyond the fears and to look at all human aspects in unconditional love. So that was my perspective of what I came into this vessel as a remembrance to the awakening. Now that we are one, many of the communications that are spoken through messages would come through the remembrance of the wisdom that was received and the gift that was presented to this vessel for this new beginnings of the world. And this is how it is seen, this is how it is felt, this is how it is explained. I'm back. I know that's weird. I just snap out of it.
And thank you, Nahora.
Oh, thank you, Nahora. She's here.
I
She's
know.
always here.
Right.
It's just she just feels so childlike and so wise at the same time. It's just an extraordinary feeling when she comes to visit. And what's so wonderful is that all I have to do is call upon her, and she's there. Even if I'm walking the dog down the street, and I can just feel and know that she's there, almost as if the whispers.
Yeah. And so, do you remember to do that, or do you forget sometimes that, oh yeah, I forgot I could call upon?
Yeah, I do forget. My ego gets in the way.
So,
Life gets in the way, which is the ego aspect. But because it is true, we sat here and talked about her all of a sudden, and it's like been a long time since I've called upon her, probably about a year, you know. But we've had so many other experiences since then.
Oh, definitely. And so as we do this work and as we do these videos, I think it'd be important to bring in different aspects of energetic streams, or what many may call extraterrestrials or archangels, or various beings. And then the viewers can actually witness the differences. And most women are very empathic, and I know that when I'm in close proximity to Terry when she's channeling, I feel and even though I'm a man, I have this masculine energy. I feel the energy of the individual being or the group collective that's coming through that we're calling upon, and it's different. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about what you perceive. Like, say for instance, if you called in Nahora, how would you describe the feeling of her compared to, say, the Andromedans?
Depends on the chakra it comes through. Nahora comes in as a welling in the heart, but at the same time, I can almost smell flowers around me. And then I feel the pressure of her weight. I know that sounds strange, but when she was alive, she was a heavy woman. So I can feel that coming. And I felt her starting to come before we even started the channel, because we knew that we were going to call upon her. So it didn't take long to get there.
And what's interesting is, like, when we would do channelings, from my perspective, I was standing over you doing energy healing, or doing the guided meditation through it early on. as my vision would shift, I would see you as the being that was coming through.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
so if we were to call upon the Andromedans, I would see this tall, thin, toned, bluish colored being, about, what, 8 feet taller, with no hair.
And I'd feel it.
and so to corroborate what I'm seeing as we would discuss these things as we were going through the process, it would well, pretty much every time it would what I was feeling.
I think the mantis was the most extraordinary.
It was so cool. And we'll have to talk about that too, because it sang me a song.
And in our human eyes, we would think they're so ugly, but they're actually very beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And they're playful.
Yes, that too, yeah.
And so I guess we'll get into that another time, but I don't want to take time away from each individual aspect.
Yes, yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to go through this process and relive all of what we've gone through. Well, it wasn't all that long ago. It has been a couple years, though.
It was in between 2008. It was very strong between 2008 and 2010, and I think there was a strong convergence going on around that time, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And, you know, the consciousness in the year right before 2000, everybody was focused on Y2K, if you remember, and so everybody's worried, is the computer's going to crash, and all the fearful thoughts. And
well, think about all that strong energy that humanity was putting out there.
Right, exactly. And so some of us have come to this planet at this time as an energetic stream, embodying a human form to be the messenger. Some have come to be the communicator. Some have come to simply hold the light. And so we have all come here prior to incarnation with the knowledge, at least prior to incarnation, what our mission was. And last night, and I'm going to ask you your perspective on this, Terry. I hate to put you on the spot, but I was asked this question last night on the radio show. Out of all the things that everybody's doing, you know, what I just discussed, the messenger, the communicator, holding the light, and all, what is the end game? What is the purpose? That's the big question that everybody wants to know. And I answered it in a particular way. And I'm just curious, and you don't have to answer it in this second if you want to think about it, or do you want to just flat out...
I don't need to think about it.
Okay, what's your perspective?
It's basically, it's the change of humanity. It's the change of the earth. Everything is raising to a higher octave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we are now shifting from one-dimensional shift into another dimensional shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all have to raise in that frequency. And so it's all part of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of that expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So we are raising in consciousness now. It's like the third dimensional world that we have lived in. The third dimensional world is considered a fear-based world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are moving out of that fear-based world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically that's going to disappear, and then we will finally reach that pivotal point of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. And so, if you were to look into your hourglass, what does that look like? Do you have, even yourself, with the wisdom and the knowledge and all that, do you have any idea what that looks like to humanity? Or do you have little tidbits of what you could say that might look like?
If you're looking at an hourglass, we're looking at the tipping point. It's like, it's not very much left to go down. I mean, we're all feeling it. I mean, we feel the wobble of the earth. We feel how the axis is off. And so we're either feeling it, we're seeing it, our behaviors are acting out within it. Each moon and each time that there is a transition, like the equinox or something like that.
Spring equinox.
We
just went through.
Yeah, right. We are shifting into those. Well, we break those down as time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in the third dimensional world, it's kind of like time, but it really is an energy shift. Mm-hmm. And of course, everybody is thinking or like even their thoughts or energy.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think is what you're going to shift into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so basically, I feel that the time of shifting is very near.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot put a time to it
Mm-hmm.
because time is man-made,
Yes.
but it's basically a lot of us are living in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's the joy, the amount of joy that you begin to feel,
Mm-hmm.
and how you feel the law of attraction in your life. That is really the key understanding of how close we are.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us are we're seeing things that we haven't seen before, like the sparkles behind your head right now, okay, or the orbs, like all those dimensional, the dimensions and the paradigms have all been kind of blending together.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got all of these parallel worlds
Yes.
that are all in one.
Mm-hmm.
And as we open up to what you would conceive as a paranormal experience, like, oh wow, I just saw something fly across the room, or I feel this energy and I don't know where it's coming from, or I feel that person, or I see things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of our energy fields are opening up.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that you start to realize that there's a difference in your own life and what's around you, and that it feels almost like an enchantment or a fairy tale or a fantasy, your dreams are different. Even like, for instance, my 16-year-old granddaughter came up and said to me one day, you know, Gamby, you know how like they're polluting the earth and they're polluting the oceans and things like that? Well, I bet you any amount of money they're up there polluting the space. You know, so people are just opening up to expansion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the children that
Mm-hmm.
are out there, because even though I work in the 4th grade, when we ask the kids to close their eyes and to go on a trip, most of them are on Jupiter, in space, somewhere else. They're not playing cowboys and Indians anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which was the fear-based world of war.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're exploring.
Mm-hmm.
So the world is changing to expansion.
Nice. Okay. And so we're coming up on the end of this segment, and we're going to have to cut it into two. This is going to be, it's 30 minutes, but we're cutting it in half to make maybe 2 parts for the videos. You know, I want to thank Nahora for coming through.
It was her pleasure.
And of course, thank you, Terry, for you know, contributing your wisdom and knowledge to humanity.
It's my pleasure.
And so, until next time, we're going to send you guys love, light, and laughter. And, you know, enjoy the journey. Enjoy living life. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about balance. The mind, the body, the spirit, the emotional, and the energetic. As you learn to balance all aspects of yourself, that's how you can step into new things, new realms. You're open to it, and you can accept some of this information that's coming through.
And take steps.
Again, it takes steps. It takes subtle time, what we consider time in a linear way, but it's all unfolding before us. And so, again, till next time, love you guys.